Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last session of Adaptive Innovations in Manufacturing webinar series. My name is Varun Heta, and I work as a Fusion 360 community manager at Autodesk. I hope all of you are having a good time. By 2030, Indian government is aiming to have electric vehicles to account for 30% of the new car sales. That's an ambitious goal considering the electric vehicle sales make up only a few percent today. To help create momentum, the Government of India enacted a National Electric Mobility Mission, which includes subsidies for EV sales and production incentives to encourage local electric vehicle design and manufacturing. So a Bangalore-based company called Greendzine is determined to be a part of this new paradigm. They are using design modularity approach to create low-speed electric vehicles faster than anyone else in the industry. And today, we'll discuss how Fusion 360 reduces the time required to switch from concept design to the first prototype. In addition, we'll also hear from about styling capabilities like freeform modeling, surfacing, and visualization, along with a cool bunch of unique workflows to develop e-mobility projects. I would like to introduce today's speakers, Karthikeyan Sundaram. He's the Chief Technology Officer at Greendzine Tech, and Mickey Wakefield. He's the Fusion 360 Global Program Manager. So guys, let me inform you, this webinar is going to be very fast. We only hardly get 30-minute time, and this time goes just like that. So this is time to put your notifications on Do Not Disturb mode. All the recordings and everything will be published on the registration webpage. So I encourage you to stay till the Q&A round. We do that in the end. If you have questions, feel free to park that in the Q&A section. We'll be answering live, and I'll hand it over to Karthikeyan. Hi, Karthikeyan. Thank you for joining. Over to you.
Yes, thanks, Varun. Thanks for the quick and crisp introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. So I am Karthik. I'm one of the founders of Greendzine Technologies. Let me share my screen to give an overview of who we are, and then I will hand over to one of my core engineers who has more knowledge on Fusion 360, and with a use case, he will tell you how Fusion 360 is part of our culture. We are a bunch of crazy engineers who has done electrical, mechanical engineering, as well as some computer science, software, hardware engineering, and we had joined together to see whether we can make electric mobility a credible and good option for everybody in India. Right? Our vision is invent electric mobility solutions to all, and also to make electric vehicles the preferred choice of mobility. So we have started our journey in 2015. We have done some crazy designs to understand how users get attracted to the design element rather than looking at the vehicles like whether it's electric or petrol driven, right? So our first attempt was to create curiosity through design, and then slowly move the crowd towards the electric mobility. Right? In this process of our exploration, we also started realizing that we have to run the business and make sure business has cash. Right? So we have also launched some products in industrial mobility. We launched products in personal mobility. We launched products in lifestyle electric mobility as well, right? So 3 categories of vehicles and 3 different business units in last 5 years, and we are a small team of 25, right? The way we have approached the problem of designing multiple products is through our culture, which we call it as our DNA, right? There are some 5 building blocks which exhibit the qualities of everybody in Greendzine Tech, right? First is think like an owner, right? Second, deep dive. Third, go to Gemba. And fourth, fail fast and fail forward, right? I don't want to explain each and every building block, right? If somebody in Greendzine follows these 4 things, then we will be able to develop a concept of product in 90 days. And it is not just people, it is also the tools and technologies we use in Greendzine to integrate our thoughts and make a product out of it, right? Autodesk has been with us for last 4 years, and we have used most of the tools in Autodesk from conceptualizing to manufacturing, right? So I will leave now, and I will give the screen to Mr. Manan. He is our design engineer who has been with us for last 3 years. He has worked with us to design multiple products, concepts, and also he has put his hand in making the concepts into a reality. So Manan, over to you.
Thank you so much,
Hi.
Karthik.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, all. This is Manan. I'm a design engineer working with Greendzine Technologies. Karthik would have given a crisp and clear introduction about me. So I'll just share my screen to show you what we have, how we used Autodesk Fusion and some products to, get the concepts to prototype to the stage where they are now. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, looks good to me.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, we build products. We have a bunch of crazy engineers. So as an engineer, what do you need? You need an idea to generate it into a concept. So we take an idea, we sketch it out, we list down what are all the needs, what are all the XYZ needs. We have to convert that idea into a concept. Now, to convert this into a concept, sketches are there, but to get a 360 overview of the entire vehicle of the product, we have to convert this concept to something to, in a 3D version, which is how we used Autodesk Fusion 360. In conceptualization phase, I would say that when we conceptualize, we want a product to look in a certain way. We want that concept to come from a paper to in a 3D in a screen in a 3D format where it's more interactive and it's more interactive, and people will get the designers within the team know what's going on inside the product in and out. So starting with Fusion 360, when I joined, this was the first software which was handed to me, and it took me no time to learn the software. I mean, every option speaks for itself on how to use it, and it's simple, and the UI is very simple. It's not complicated. You have to look for options. Every option speaks for itself. And then your sketches, they have to be going into somewhere. So your sketches, you want them in a certain way, but modeling slightly gets trickier there. So organic shapes. So we simply import the sketches into the Fusion, and then we get the organic shapes out of it, which is easy to sculpt and get the necessary shapes, however a designer feels like. The complex shapes in organic modeling is quite simple to get it done. And of course, it's parametric design. I can go into the assembly tree, change. I don't like something somewhere. I can change it, and then the entire tree changes on its own. So it's quite simple. So this is one of our prototype. First design that we did to get it look something like this. It was a quick prototype that we did, and as an engineer, we have to present the model. So rendering, there are lots of options to explore in Fusion, so that this rendering gets to interactive and it's easy for the the team to see what's going on in the product. And then certain things that we really enjoyed is something called as the cloud-based features. So I can work from place A, I can work from my office and go to the vendor, let him know what's going on. We can do the design changes on the go, and the team will know what's going on. We can work from anywhere. The cloud-based feature always saves time. We don't have to upload the heavy files into clouds, download them. That hassle is totally eliminated using the cloud features. And as a designer, everyone will relate that there is always a file named Final Assembly 1, Final Assembly 2, and it keeps going on. That has no end to it. So this version control usually helps us. It really helps us that every time you save, it creates a version of itself. And then that's how the Fusion helped us. And then there is always the Autodesk forum. They are always fast, and they don't waste any time. They always reply to our queries fast and helpful. And they're always productive discussions as well. And of course, from the concept, it has to go to the engineering bit of it. And then from Fusion, you can move to any software, but most of it can happen in Fusion itself. You can simply convert the model into the engineering bit. And then, yeah, that's how the concept to engineering bit starts. And I would like to thank Autodesk because, as Karthik sir mentioned, invent. This entire Autodesk forum has really helped us in, getting that invent while we are doing the modeling process itself. So yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Over to you, Karthik sir.
Okay, Manan. Yeah, so as Manan rightly said, tools and technologies we use helps us implement and demonstrate the culture we have in green design, right? Autodesk has been, very good tool, and honestly, we have got calls from SolidWorks probably twice a week in between uh, when we started using Autodesk, right? And we have been pushing them back, saying once we are in the platform, and of course, I also have to mention that we are part of Autodesk Impact program, and they have supported us when we did not have any money. So I always push back SolidWorks saying that don't come near to us because you didn't support us, as well as we feel Autodesk has been part of our culture now, right? So I thank Autodesk for all the opportunities given to us and support extended to us. And of course, as I mentioned in my starting of my presentation, it is not just tool and technology, or it is not just people who can create a miracle in product design. It has to be a combination of both, here and there little bit tools, here and there little bit people, and the mindset of people and the vision company carries, which can make a great product. And our philosophy is we have to make any concept what we think has to be a product, and we'll have to convert that concept into first prototype, working prototype in 90 days. Yeah, that's about us and how we use Autodesk in green design.
Thank you so much, Karthik. Indeed, it was a pretty insightful presentation. Just to add to that, I have also shared the link, the Redshift article, which was published on the story of green design. They have been doing design modularity, giving a lot of information about the initial prototyping phase and how it can enable you to use the CAD package to make quicker decisions to create vehicles. So now we have another speaker. We have Mickey Wakefield, and as mentioned, Mickey Wakefield is from Autodesk team, and he's going to talk about some very good best practices of product design. Hi, Mickey. Over to you.
Hi, Varun. I hope that my internet connection is going to hold. It's telling me that it's very unstable. Can you hear me at all?
It's fine.
All right, let's hope it stays that way. I anticipated this happening. So Varun, if it just gets too bad, kick me out, because I provided Varun with a video of my presentation yesterday just in case, because I thought the location I am has kind of a dodgy internet connection. So if it comes down to it, just kick me out and start that thing, all right? I will share my screen. This is now the moment of truth. See how this works? Can you see this, my presentation, Varun?
That still says Mickey Wakefield has started screen sharing. I think it will take a while.
Okay, that's...
All right, looks good.
Oh my goodness, this is not looking good.
It looks good.
So I'll just begin, Varun. You just let me know and take over control, all right? Can you do that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So when I was thinking about this presentation, I was thinking about skills for mobility and product design. But really, this is talking about concept design and getting all the way from concept to complex product design. And this applies in a lot of projects. It's not just about e-mobility. These days, e-mobility is interesting because it has mechanical aspects and also electrical aspects. But if you think about it these days, just about every project that we work on has those aspects. So it doesn't really matter if you're working on e-mobility or if you happen to be working on a paper machine or some kind of packaging machine. All these things have aspects like this. And if you look on the left side here of your screen, you'll see Roboy. This is a project I was involved with a number of years ago. It is a compliant robot. It is the world's most advanced compliant robot. And what that means is it doesn't work like a normal robot. A series of pulleys and strings to move his joints, which in effect means that his body works in a fashion that is very similar to our own body. And the desired intent for Roboy is that in an agile hardware development environment, Roboy will improve by iterations until he is as good or better than the human body. And the founder of the project, a man by the name of Raphael Hochstetter, he told me that his desired goal is to import his consciousness into Roboy. That's super creepy, but he means it, right? So this is a hardware project, but it's also a software project to make sure that that thing is ongoing. I'm going to check the chat here just for a minute. How are we doing as far as my understanding, being able to understand me? Barun?
Yeah, all good so far.
Okay, let's keep going. So if we look at hardware projects like this, I want to talk about this agile technique for hardware. I think it is super important. To be completely honest, it's not really a feature of Fusion 360, but it's something that Fusion 360 is absolutely designed to do. Many people are familiar with agile software development techniques in the software world, but there's a whole group of people out there who are adapting these techniques for hardware. And you can see there's some parallels here to left and right on the hardware thing. And this robot is created about 6 weeks from concept to final development. Roboy, this is the second Roboy they've built. I believe that was done in, it wasn't quite 6 weeks. I think they got it done in 8 weeks. So they got it done in 2 months. That's amazing. It's a group of about 125 people that work on it. But if you look at Fusion, we have abilities to use these kind of techniques because everybody can work from wherever they are. You can have people working cloud connected nature of the software itself. And we have the versioning, and we even have revision control released just a week ago. We now have the manage extension, which allows you to actually do proper workflow deployments and actually say, you know, revision A, B, C, and D, and things like this. So this is something I think that everybody here is interested in this concept should really look into and think about, because this is something you can do. And it is the thing that all top performing stars these days. It doesn't surprise me about that at all that Greendzine uses these techniques as well, and it's an important factor in your success, I believe, for companies of the future. Now, there are other things in Fusion which are true features, which I want to highlight today. I think about generative design, and we talk about generative design for being slick, really nice looking parts, interesting looking parts, parts that perform to a very high level. But I use generative design whenever I have to think about something that is difficult for me to imagine. What you're looking at here are the designs for a workpiece holding a workpiece holding device. This means this is a part that I'm going to use to hold a piece of metal on top of a CNC machine while I'm machining that piece of metal. The problem is that that piece of metal has some undercuts, some areas I need to be able to get into with my tool. And so it was difficult for me to think about a way to clamp this thing efficiently on my machine. Pardon. What I did in that case was to make sure that I used generative design to create that geometry for me, to make sure that I was able to reach all the parts of my design without having to actually think about this quite often. Another area where we've used generative design effectively was in things like Roboy's pelvis area. Because you can imagine the pelvis has a lot of stress and strain on it, but there's a lot of equipment inside pelvis area. And so it was difficult for me to imagine a shape that would fit all of that. And so I use generative design in those kind of cases basically as an easy modeling technique to find the shape that I need to be able to fit all those tightly connected parts. And this is something that I think Greendzine probably understands. There are areas inside their bikes which are very compact. And if they made them larger to be able to fit everything in there, it wouldn't be very attractive. So using techniques like this to pack everything closely together and keep packages small, I think this is a skill that product designers should know about and should be using in that way. All right. Now, let's move on to the next slide. Now, this is one that most people think about when they think about product design. When we're talking about advanced surfacing techniques. And one thing that you should know is that Fusion combines both parametric mechanical engineering workflows and non-parametric industrial design surfacing workflows. In fact, that is the origin of the name Fusion 360. Fusion 360 was a fusion between the non-parametric industrial design world and the parametric mechanical design world. A lot of people don't know that, but that's where the original name Fusion came from, because generally, even to this day, surfacing tools for industrial designers work non-parametrically, and they are not compatible with mechanical design parametric mechanical engineering tools. They have import-export capabilities, but nothing like the ability to transfer feature information back and forth. And so when we created Fusion, this is one of the original things we thought about, actually, about how to make that different. And a lot of you guys out there, I know this, there are usually two camps in Fusion. The ones that know industrial design and know our surfacing capabilities, and the ones who are mechanical engineers and they don't ever touch it. So everybody's working in their camp. And what I'm suggesting today is that we have the ability in Fusion to do both and learn it, because it makes for much more attractive products. What you're looking at here is the classic EAMS chair. And a standard workflow in Fusion is to create a canvas using pictures. And this one is a really nice picture that I pulled off the internet, because you can picture to be the actual size of the chair using those measurements. I think that's a nice way to do it. And basically what I'm doing here is, in our T-spline environment, I'm creating a surface that it takes a little practice to do, but once you get this, you can get amazingly complex shapes that are very smooth, very attractive. Of the time, something like this as a mechanical engineering software with a parametric design workflow. Now, I have seen engineers go out there and try to design things like eyeglasses or motorcycles or chairs or sofas, any number of things using parametric design workflows, and they tend to look very square, very blocky, not very attractive. And you can see by using some of these techniques here, I can get to this shape in a fraction of the time that anybody else could do using those other parametric design techniques. And that shape is much, much closer to the original. In fact, it is how the original was made. They were made using these surfacing techniques on other softwares. The advantage with Fusion is, because it's part of the entirety of the software, I am able to actually use parametric design workflows afterwards to describe bolt connections, the legs on the bottom, things like this. And you can see it doesn't take long and you start getting a really attractive shape. Now, some of you are saying, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. But this video is on my YouTube site. It is a long form video that goes about 15, 20 minutes in length. And I go click for click through, and you too can learn how to model the EAMS chair in a way that will make all your friends amazed at your surface modeling techniques and abilities. It does take a bit of practice, but I encourage every one of you to learn it, especially you mechanical engineers who may not have the experience in these surfacing workflows. And Fusion gives you the opportunity to learn those, okay? So let's move on to the next part that I think is really important for product design. And really, these days, just about any kind of embedded product design that you're seeing out there is combined electronics. A lot of people don't know that Fusion has a completely integrated PCB design portfolio inside of it. And you can look here, and this is one of our customers, one of my customers in Germany, Festool. They make the Lamborghini of construction tools. And you can see they use a lot of those surfacing workflows as well to get some of those organic shapes. They combine these with the parametric workflows to do strengthening ribs and spaces inside, which is really nice. And then they can create a PCB, which has the layout and the schematic, and then they can actually do their pick and place kind of operations here where they're just placing the components on the board. Routing happens automatically using auto routing features, which is just amazing. I mean, the amount of time you can save here is just amazing. And the software goes through and figures out how all those things are fit. You get out of that a 3D model that has feature information. Each one of these little blocks actually is a separate body. It exists as an assembly in your assembly. You can see it here on the left side if you look closely. And these are not import-export decisions. You are still part of the original Fusion software. There is no separate software. There's no separate data format. And that is particularly important because I'm going to show you the next thing. Let's go to the next video, which is really just a continuation of the first. If we have a fully integrated PCB and we make a change to our 3D model, like here at the bottom, that knob over to the left side, you can see that the PCB no longer fits normally on a regular software because those are two different worlds. But I can then push things over. The reroute takes care, it gets everything done automatically, and then you have a new version which now fits. The point being is that in an integrated product, you should have integrated product development products, and Fusion provides you with those. Electronics is one of the ones we're most proud of because it's one of the ones that most of our competitors don't have. But we have electronics, we have CAM, we have rendering, we have simulation, we have generative design, additive manufacturing, and a number of other environments. With Fusion, we are truly able to take companies like Greendzine from zero without ever leaving the software, and everybody can work together. So I do hope that you were able to follow some of that and that my internet connection didn't drop out too badly. If not, don't worry. All these videos are available on my YouTube site, and Varun will upload the recording. If the recording's too bad, I'll redo it for him, make sure it's good. And Varun, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Mickey. And I think we just hardly got audio lag twice or thrice. So it was
okay.
Pretty...
Okay.
Great. So guys, we have so many questions. So I'll do a quick thing. I'll share my screen to answer all of them one by one. It will be easier and it will save some time. There I share my screen. Okay, this is for the question posted by someone for the startups. This is the page. I'm going to share this link right in the chat box. Okay, so if you qualify for certain conditions like these, like you must generate less than $100,000 in gross revenue, and you must design or manufacture your own personal or physical products. There are certain other things too. If you qualify for these things, you can apply for a startup license. And link is coming in the chat window. Just keep it handy. And then other question was, how do we start learning Fusion? So if you go to the website, Fusion 360, the homepage, right? You will see this this tab, Learn and Support. Go to this tab and go to Self-Paced Learning. It has a lot of information. So it's going to give you access to a lot of self-learning content. Just give it a go. And if you're looking for inspiration, you can also look for Autodesk Gallery. That will give you a lot of information about what other people are doing, right? So keep it a check. Link is coming. And then we see some questions about the certification. So if you want to get certified with Fusion 360 and using any other tools, so this is the page for that. It will give you all the information. And this was the page related to how to get started with Fusion. It has a lot of product documentation, right? Just check out this specific page. I'm giving you a specific link to that. You can keep this handy in case you want to try Fusion. I want to give you one more information. Fusion is the software which gets a lot of updates, right? So sometimes when people see an old tutorial on internet, that there's a possibility that might have old user interface. So you might feel confused that when you are trying the software, the latest Fusion 360, considering the old one, you might not be able to relate to that because of the changes in the UI. So keep an eye on this page. This will give you relevant information. And other than that, the recordings, right? So you go to the page, the registration page, and check out this calendar. Just go back in the webinars. You see watch now. These are the recordings. Just give it a go. For today's webinar, we'll post the recording once it is polished and edited, and then you'll be able to see that watch now option here also. So all the recordings are posted on the web page. Just give it a check if you want. Okay, stop sharing my screen. So guys, we are running Fusion 360 Community Self-Care Series. Let me hide this. Yeah, this is a webinar exploring a strength-based approach to processing major life changes. And this is offering some practical ways to move through unexpected situations and setbacks, right? Let me share this link with you. This is happening tomorrow, and this is going to happen in 9 p.m. India time, right? So this is a global webinar going to happen. Feel free to check it out if you're interested. We'll be having these amazing speakers from Creative Space. That's an organization that designs bespoke self-care programs. And these speakers will share how change is inevitable but unexpected, whether we are in the middle of physical, emotional, or professional transformation, or simply navigating this global current pandemic. It can often feel like walking the fine line between the inspiring and gut-wrenching. And this webinar is about exploring the real journey and the challenge that seeking change represents. We'll investigate the change process and explore it through the lens of a practical tool called the change curve. Other than that, we keep posting all the updates on our social media. Just check it out. We have a official page, Autodesk Fusion 360, and a community page by Fusion 360 India community. We are pretty active on Instagram. Check it out. If you are doing some amazing work, tag us and we'll repost. Let's build the. Here I end this presentation, and I thank all the panelists and participants for being here with us. Thank you, Karthikeyan, Manan, and thank you, Mickey and Anand, for staying all the way to these webinars. And thank you.
Thanks. It was nice, and nice meeting you, Mickey.
Thanks to everybody for attending today. I do appreciate it. Sorry I dropped out a couple times, but it's always a pleasure to hear from you guys and see what you're working on. And when I can get a Greendzine bike, I want it.
Me too.
Yes, we are going to export it as well. We will send it to you.
I'll go pick it up.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you and have a good day and stay safe.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Varun.